So first of all, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel named Gaurav Kumar Jain, and thank you very much to every one of you who is sharing the links of my videos on regular basis. Fine. Now let's move on to this code.org platform. So today I am going to show you how can we develop this kind of survey form, the one which you are seeing right now on your screens. How can we develop this thing using HTML coding, right? And there is a lab on code.org platform in which you can define HTML codes. The name of that lab is Weblab. Okay, so I'm going to tell you today how can you design such a beautiful survey form and how can you customize its design. That's what also we are going to learn about in the later section of this tutorial. So for accessing the Weblab, what you have to do, you need to come over here. When you tap on this create option, automatically you are going to come across this beautiful cascading menu, and after that you can hit this view all projects. Fine. Now it is going to redirect you on this screen. Now you have to come down, and when you will hit this view full list option, so this is where you will be able to find this Weblab option. Okay, now let's open a Weblab. So this is how the Weblab looks like, and let's rename this project to, I'm renaming it to survey form. So that's how you can rename your project survey form. And once you're done with putting the right name over here in this input box, you can hit this save button. So now it is this project is going to get saved with this name survey form on in your dashboard. Right. Now there are so this is the HTML sheet, okay, on which we will be writing the HTML codes. And if you want to enhance the features of any of these features, or you can say the look of your HTML document, let me give you a very beautiful example. Let me show it to you practically rather. So let's come on this style.css. As you can see, there is a here right on the top this body is written and the background is white. So this is the the property, okay, and this is the value which we have passed for this property of this body section, okay, of this HTML document. Now if you want to see the body, if you want to see the background of this HTML document in black, so you can pass black like this, and automatically you will be able to see the changes getting reflected over here. Fine. So the output you're going to see over here on this panel. Here you can define all the codes, and here you can add the HTML and CSS file, whatever files you want to add to your project. So you can add it over here in this panel. So there this complete panel is divided into three parts. One is this, second one is this on which you can define the coding, and third one is this on which you will be seeing the output. Let's come on this index.html and check out that survey form. So right on the top, as you can see, employee interest survey form. So this is written right on the top. How can we get this thing over here? That's what we have to think about. And the background of this what we call it HTML document is of white color. So I'm going to make it white again. That's how we can do it. Right. Okay. Now let's first define a title for this HTML document. How can you define a title? So there is a tag named title with which you can do it very easily. Title, let's say survey form. Okay, and then you can enclose it like this in between these title tags. So this is called a container tag. Title is a container tag. Why am I calling it a container tag? Just because we have this on tag also for this title, and we have to define this off tag also. This forward slash I have placed just before this title. Why? Because in order to close this title tag, I have written it like this. So this is the opening tag and this one is the closing tag. Link is not a container tag. Okay, so that is the reason we are not required to define an off element for this, like this. Okay, we need not to define anything like this for this link. Why? Because it is an empty element. So there are two types of elements, two types of tags in HTML. One is container tag and second one is empty tag. So this one is a container tag which you are seeing right now here. Now what? Okay, now if I will run this code on a new tab, so this is what I'm going to get as an output. So right on the top, you can see this survey form is visible to us. Why it is getting reflected right on the top? Because we have defined the title of this web page as survey form. If you will make it, let's make it employee survey form. So when you will hit the share button for saving the changes, and then let's refresh this page and check out what are the changes we are going to see right on the top. So see, now it will be employee survey form. Why? Because we have defined the title as employee survey form. So that's where the title gets reflected in a particular web page. Okay, let's now come on this survey form. So the first thing that we need to define is this employee interest survey form, and as you can see, the font size is little bit big, and it is in bold. So we need to identify first what is the tag that we can make use of for displaying such a thing. Fine. So I think we can make use of header tags. So h1 is the header tag, right? And besides, see, and what else do we have in this employee interest survey form? Let's write down employee interest survey form over here. Now let's enclose it in h1 tag. So this is how you're going to see the output. So this is what you're going to get as an output over here. Now the thing is, we are developing a form right now. Okay, it's a survey form. So there is a sorry, there is a tag called form that we generally make use of when we are creating a form on a web page. So let's do that first. Let's define that form tag. So right below this body tag, I have defined this form, and let's define the off tag also for this form. Okay, so that's how you can define these two forms, this form tag over here, right? Now there is one more tag called division. Okay, so how can you make use of division? See, these things are present on separate rows. This is the first row, this is the second row, this is on third row, this is on fourth row. So you can make use of division tag for defining different rows. Okay, let's make use of div tag, and I would like to align everything in center. Okay, I would like to see everything in center, so that's how you can do it. And let's enclose it in double inverted commas. Well, let's not make use of this at present. We'll make use of this align property afterwards. Let's keep it like this only. And inside this div I have this h1 header, h1 tags, in between which I have this employee interest survey form text written over here. Okay, Now what else do we have? Let's check it out. So we have got this thing, enter your name. So it is in the second row, right? Now if I will write down this thing, employee, enter your name over here. Let's see where it is going to get reflected. Over here is an output, enter your name. Okay, so let's refresh this page. I think something is missing. Okay, I haven't closed this division tag. Fine, so it is coming written over here, enter your name. Now I would like to see it somewhere in the center. How can I bring it in the center? So whatever I will be defining in this division tags, I would like everything to come in center. How can I do that? So there is a property named align that you can make use of, align equal to, then you can pass this value for this align property. So everything is going to come in center like this, right? Just after this, enter your name. What else do what do we have just after this? We have an input box. Now what is the tag that we can make use of for defining an input box on an HTML document? So the name of the tag is input. Okay, remember this these things. And type, because it's a text input that we want to define over here on this HTML document. This is a text input box which you're seeing over here, right? So how can we get it on this output window? We just have to define this text. So it is a text type of input box which I would like to see here in the output. Besides that, let's give it a name too. So I'm giving it username. Okay, and then if you want to define any size for this input box, you can make use of this attribute size equal to, let's say, 35. Fine, and then we can have maximum length. What is the maximum length you would like to have for this input box? Maximum length, let it be 35 only. And value I am not giving anything for this. Okay, so that's how you will be able to see, that's how you can define an text input box on this HTML document. So as you can see, this input box is visible to us, right? And it is coming from this code that we have defined over here. So there are 4 attributes which I have defined for this input input tag. One is the type of the input tag which I would like to see over here. So it's a text input box, that is the reason I have defined text over here. Then we need to name that input box. So it is username. The name of this input box is username. Okay, and then the size of this input box is 35. If I will reduce it to 3, so this is what is going to happen to this input box. The size, the length of this input box will go down. Okay, and similarly if I will make it 5, so this is what you're going to see. So the maximum length will be 5. Again, the size of this input box will be equal to 3. So that is the reason I have defined 35 for both these things. Okay, value, I don't want to define any value for this. So that is the reason I have passed null value for this value attribute of this input box. Okay, now let's come down. What else do we have? So we have one more header, what we call it, text over here. Then against it we have an input box. Now how can we get this thing? That's what we have to think about, and besides that, it is in the next line. So we need to break the line now. Now what is the attribute with which we can break the line? So you guys can make use of BR. Fine. And now the cursor is going to come on the next line, and what you can do, you can copy the complete thing from here and you can put it over here like this. Now what do we have in the third row? We have enter your document. So for enter your department, so we need to change this name with department first, right? And after this we need to enter your department. Then, and I would like to see some more space in between these two rows. So how can we do that? We just have to place one more br, and that's how you're going to now see the output. That's what you'll get as an output on this output window, right? So it is looking perfectly fine. Now I would like to change the name of this input box to department, because the person is going to mention his department over here. Besides everything, I think rest everything is going to remain the same. Fine, I'm not going to change anything else. Let's come back on the survey form. So now we have got this thing, tell us a little about yourself. So it is again a text, right? So what we can do, we can again define two br tags for giving a two line of space in between this, enter your department, and this thing that we are going to write over here now. Tell us a little about yourself. So we need to write down, tell us a little about yourself. So the most beautiful thing of this Weblab is you get to see the output at the very same instance. Once you are done with defining the code over here, you get to see the output at the very same instance over here in this output window. So that's one of the most beautiful thing I like about Weblab. Tell us about yourself. So as you can see, the text is visible to us over here in this output window. Now we have a rectangular kind of thing over here. So it is a text area. It is not an input box, right? It is a text area. Now what is the code that you can make use of for defining a text area like this on this HTML document? So there is a tag named text area, okay, that you can make use of. Now let's name it as comments. Fine, and then you can, if you want to define some columns and rows for this text area, so you can make use of calls, okay, for defining the number of columns. So let's have 30 columns in it, and besides rows, number of rows, let's make it 20. Fine, or let's make it 4. Fine. Now what we can do, we need to close this text area also. So for closing this text area, we just have to write down this thing over here, and as you can see, the text area is visible to us, but it is very small. I would like to see it. Let's increase the number of rows. So if I will pass 12 over here, what will happen? Let's check it out. Okay, why we are not getting the right output? Columns 30, rows are equal to 4. Okay, let's run it on a bigger window and check out the output. So this is what you're going to get as an output when you run it on a bigger window. Why this text area is not okay? Let's make it 44. If I'll increase the number of rows, and what is going to happen, let's check it out. Okay, I think text area, name, comments, calls, this is perfectly fine. Okay, I think I haven't placed equal to over here, so that is the reason I was not able to see the required changes. Okay, so let's make it 30, and here I'm going to define 4. Fine, so we need to place equal to if we are passing any value for this calls or rows property of this text area. So we need to make use of equal to instead of making use of colon. Alright, okay, so we are done with defining a text area over here. Now what else do we have? Do you exercise at home? Again, it's a text, so we can copy this thing from here and we can put it over here like this. Now we want to see there is a gap. There is again a 2 lines of gap in between these two rows. So for that we can copy this br tags from here and we can put it over here. So now there is a 2 lines of gap in between these two rows. What else do we have with this? Do you exercise at home? And then we have 2 radio buttons. do you exercise at home? First of all, we need to write down this thing over here. Do you exercise okay? Then how can we define these radio buttons? So the best way is to make use of, again, this thing, input tag, and then this time the type that we are going to pass for this input type is radio. Okay, then you can name it as exe, and then we can pass a value for this. So the value this time for this first one is going to be yes, right? Because if the user will hit that first radio button, I would like this yes to be passed, okay, to the server. Otherwise no should be passed. Okay, and how can we see this text written just after this radio button? So we can write down yes after this. In capital we need to write it down, yes. Okay, and then we can copy this whole thing from here and we can put it over here. Let's make the required changes. So let's change it to no, and this one also we need to change it to no. So that's how you will be able to see the changes over here also in the output window, right? So everything is coming perfectly fine right now. Now let's come on this point. How do you like to read about your favorite topics? So again we need to make use of this these two BR tags, and we can put them over here. Okay, and then how do you like to read about your favorite topics? So how do you like to read about your favorite topics? Right, so this is a simple text, and we can directly write it down like this, and it will be visible to us over here in this output window. Now what else do we have? So now we have some check boxes over here. So the first one is for books, then the second one is for online resources, then the third one is for phone apps, and the fourth one is for magazines. Now what is the tag that we can make use of for defining these four check boxes? That's what we have to think about. So the best way is to again make use of this input command or input tag. Let's copy this whole thing and put it over here like this. Okay, and this time in place of radio we would like to have a checkbox, right? So that is the reason I am writing checkbox over here. Now we will be able to see a checkbox kind of thing, and let's name it as books. Okay, and I don't want to pass any value for this checkbox, and besides, just next to this first text checkbox I would like to see this books written, right? So it is getting reflected over here in this input box, in this output window, but I would like to see it coming in the next line. Okay, so how can we do that? We just have to copy these two lines, break BR is for break lines. Okay, with this we can break the lines. So we are done with that. So books is now getting reflected like this over here in this input box. We just have to now copy this whole thing and paste it 3 times like this. So the second one is for online resources. Let's replace it with online resources. So it is very simple, right? I hope you guys are able to understand each and everything. If you'll do it practically yourself, definitely you will be able to understand this thing in a much better way. So just whatever you're learning right now, give it a try. Magazines. Okay, and let's copy this and place it over here. So as you can see, all these 4 things are now visible to us over here on this output window. Okay, now what else do we have? What genre of movies do you like? So again, this is a text. We can we need to break the lines first so as to bring the cursor in the um, here at this position. Now what genre of movies do you like? What genre of movies do you like? Fine. After that we have a drop down box. Now how can you define a drop down box? That's what we have to think about. So there is a tag called select that you can make use of if you want to define a drop down kind of thing for in your HTML document. So let's make use of that. I'm naming it as movie stuff. Okay, and now we can close it like this. Fine, let's now define the options for this drop down. So we need to enclose it in this options like this. Okay, so the first option is going to be let's first of all we need to define the value for this first option, so let's make it 1. Okay, and then okay, let's have this one as the first option, comedy. Okay, and now what we can do, we can just copy this whole thing from here and we can put it like this over here, and we need not to define this option over here. Okay, so inside this select tag I'm defining all these tags. So it's a kind of list, you can say, like the way we make use of li for defining the list items of a particular list, whether it is ordered list or unordered list. In the same way, for defining the options for a particular drop down, you can make use of this option tag, right? Okay, so they are going to be 5 options. So first one is comedy, then romance, the third one is going to be thriller. Okay, fourth one is going to be horror, and the fifth one is going to be biopic. Fine. Okay, now I'm done with defining all the options, so let's close this drop down. That's how you can do it. Okay, and let's now give 2 line of space. So again we can make use of this BR tag for doing the same. Why the changes are not getting reflected over here in this output window? It should be you. Fine. Okay, we are able to see this drop down over here, right? So it is perfectly fine. Now what else do we have? So now we are left with only a button which is present right at the bottom of this HTML survey form. So how can you define a button on your HTML document? So there is a very simple code that you can make use of. Input. So this time the type is going to be either you can pass this value submit, or you can make use of button tag for defining a button on your HTML document. So I'm going to make use of this submit type right now. Okay, and the value that I'm passing for this is submit form. Fine. Okay, let's now run this on a bigger window and check out what are we going to get as an output. So as you can see, this survey form is ready. Okay, and see, they are almost identical, right? So that's how you can make a survey form, and you can enter your enter any kind of information also in these input boxes over here, and you can write down anything over here in this text area. Then you can make some selection. See, so everything is working. If you hit this drop down, so these are the options you're going to come across. Fine, so that's how a survey form can be created using simple HTML coding. Fine, just try it out yourself. In case you come across any issue, you can make use of the comment section and let me know about that issue. I will try to sort it out as soon as possible. By the way, thank you very much for joining me in this lecture, and please do like and subscribe to the channel, and also share the link of this video with the other students so that they can also come and enjoy free coding classes which I am giving on my channel. Thank you very much. God bless you all. And in case you have any query, you guys are most welcome to ask me the same. I'm giving you 5 to 10 minutes. If you have anything to ask, if you have any query in your mind, you can just let me know about the same. Thank you very much, Akriti. And then Mohammed Hanif, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel, dear. Amir Faruqi, hai beta. Kaustab, Harshit, Sonali, who is this? Apul, okay. Abir, okay. So whatever you guys are learning in these online classes, do practice them yourself, okay. Without practice, nothing is going to happen. If we click the submit button, what will happen? Okay, that's a good question. So if you click the submit button, this is what you're going to come across, dear. Fine, so nothing is going to happen. Whatever you have written, it will go disappear. Why? Because it is not connected to a server. Like in App Lab, we have a data browser, right, to which our app is connected. Just because this is not connected to any server, or we haven't made use of any JavaScript coding in this HTML, so that is the reason you're not going to get anything. But if you will add this thing over here in this form section, where is that form attribute here? If you'll add this property over here, action, and then let's pass a value for this, https google.com. Okay, now let's see what are we going to get when we'll hit the submit button. Fine. So you are going to get redirected on this Google's homepage. Why? And as you can see right on the top, this is the URL which is getting reflected in this URL portion of the web browser. Why? Because we have come on this Google form from this code that we have defined for this form over here. Okay, so this with this action you can control the action of this form, and you can once the user is done with hitting that submit button, automatically this is the URL to which he is going to get redirected. And there is a thing called JavaScript. With that you can connect a server, or you can say a database, to your form, and once you are done with that, automatically whatever information the user is going to put over here in these input boxes and in this text area, whatever selection is going to make over here, it is going to get saved on that database. But we are going to learn about it once we are confident, once we are done with covering all the topics of this HTML and CSS coding. Fine. Anything else I can help you guys with? What is Weblab? Charo Mitra is asking what is Weblab. See, if you want to learn web development, if you want to design websites, if you want to do something in the field of web designing or website development, then you can do this Weblab. You can attend these Weblab tutorials. Weblab is for HTML and CSS coding. If you want to learn HTML or CSS, if you have a plan in your mind that you want to pursue your career in this website development field, then you can definitely go for Weblab. If you want to pursue your career in app development field, then you can go for App Lab. If you want to make games or you want to pursue your career in game development, then you can go for Sprite Lab and Game Lab. Okay. What is the full form of CSS? Amir Farooqi is asking. So Amir, the full form of CSS is cascading style sheets. It is used for enhancing the tags. These are tags which we have used over here. Anything which is in which you enclose in between these two things. Okay, smaller than and greater than sign. In between these two, I have enclosed this head. Then HTML is also enclosed in between these two signs. So all these are known as tags, right? So if you want to enhance the features of any features of tags that you have used for your HTML document, you can make use of cascading style sheets. For example, let me give you a very beautiful example. If you suppose want to change the background color of this form, so what you can do, you can make use of this attribute called style. Insert, okay, and then style, and then you can make use of this property called background color. Let's pass a value red for this, and let's enclose everything that we have defined after this equal to sign in between these two double inverted commas. Now when you'll refresh this document, this is what you'll get to see. Now the form is, now the body of this page has become red. Fine. Earlier it was white, now it is visible to us in red. So that's how you can enhance the properties of any tag that you have used in your HTML document using these cascading style sheets. So style is an attribute with which you can access the cascading style sheets. It's a kind of library in which all the styles are saved, fine, which you can access for enhancing the features of your web document. How to create Weblib? You don't have to create Weblab, dear. It is already available on code.org platform. How to connect data, that we will learn in future. Don't worry about that, Akriti. For now, we are focusing on HTML and CSS. Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for attending this lecture. Have a great day.